It's only been in the last couple of years that I've realized how expensive my network is. I wanted to understand people. I've introduced people to the best jobs of their lives. I know I've introduced people who have gotten married, but I think the biggest thing is
Hey, this is Mike from Intro Stars, and today we're very excited to bring you a brand new episode of the Super Connectors podcast live in New York. And for today, we've got a very special treat for you. We've got a guest, Natalie, who's the ultimate super connector in the startup world, but she also works in the VC world, and now she's helping startups get to the next level. So I'm really excited to have a conversation with her. Natalie, so good to have you on the show.
thank you so much, Mike. This is great. I'm so excited to talk with you about this because it's something that I'm really passionate about.
Well, thank you so much, Natalie. Tell us what it means for you to be a super connector. People would throw that term out there, but there's no official definition of it.
Right.
So what does it mean for you?
The way I think about like networking, connecting, etc., is that it should be something that has momentum and pushes something forward, be it a relationship, a person needing to make a connection with an investor. It could be a myriad of different things. But I think at the end of the day, there's got to be some sort of value. And so it's like being really strategic and thoughtful about the people that you are going out and building those relationships with, authentic relationships, and then figuring out like, is there a value to them? But I think the biggest thing is I always start with authenticity. There always is a motivating factor of like, I genuinely want to understand this person. So it is about, for me, super connecting means, you are coming from a place of genuine relationships, not necessarily just taking names and writing names down. It is really like being thoughtful, authentic, and intentional about building those relationships and figuring out ways that you can take those relationships to create something new, something, or push something forward.
And for you specifically, when did you start defining yourself as a super connector? And when did other people start defining you as a super connector? So tell us more about the types of introductions you like to make, and when did that become your thing?
So it's really interesting. It's only been in the last couple of years that I've realized how expensive my network is. I think that's something that I didn't really think about because, again, for me, the reason that I have, I think, a large network of people is just the fact that, I wanted to understand people. I'm a hyper curious person. And then my role has been as a head of people operations. And so I've been the one responsible for scaling organizations. So for me, it didn't start out being a super intentional thing, but I've realized it over the years because I'm starting to see people coming to me in order to harness my network. While there was intentionality around building those strong relationships and authenticity there, it's only been over the last couple of years that I've noticed that people are coming to me for that exact reason.
Because they know you make great connections. Say, hey, Natalie is the one you need to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got that reputation, also people come to you naturally. It makes sense. Obviously, the types of introductions you make, is it mostly startup founders with potential clients or investors? Or are there also other types of introductions you like to make?
Kind of where it started was just, I am the person who's always in charge of talent acquisition in organizations. And so my sort of sweet spot is coming into early stage organizations, just really growing and scaling out companies. And so the last one we scaled about 1,000% in 2 years. And it was all about how do I build these incredible companies? And so the people that I was going after at that point were, who are the different voices that we need to get in the room that aren't necessarily represented right now? And how do we kind of create cultures that are consistently being added to based on the personalities that were coming in, the sort of expertise, the lenses that when they were coming from. And so bringing all of those people together to build these incredible companies. That's actually how the network effects sort of began, was employees. From there, it turned into, I'm doing a lot of advisory work with startups. And so that could mean connecting people with VCs, connecting companies with potential enterprise customers. It can mean a lot of different things. But I think first and foremost, it was, how do I build sort of my utopia in these organizations that I'm joining?
And do you still go to lots of networking events to grow your network and get to meet the right people?
Yep.
So when you start to advise startups, oh yeah, I know this person. I just met them at the networking event last week.
Exactly.
And then connect the dots.
Yeah. And look, I think the one thing, I say this all the time, Mike and I are probably the only people in the entire world that actually really are passionate about and love networking, creating relationships and looking for opportunities to help people and again make those connections that like push something forward, that have momentum, that have that authenticity is something that I actually genuinely like to do. And so yeah, I am constantly out networking. And then I would say also when you're a consultant and you have to build your own business, that's a biz dev motion. And so I tell anybody who is either trying to get a new job or who's building a business, you need to be committing. And I say this very like it's kind of a controversial thing, but my feeling is, especially right now, everything is about connections. And I can tell you that directly from my people operations. No one is looking at resumes. They're all going off referrals right now. And so the strategy, especially for people who are trying to get a new job, has to actually change with the market and what the conditions are. And so being out 1 to 2 nights a week, that's how you're gonna get your job. If everybody's getting their jobs from relationships, you need to be out that much as well. For me, luckily, I really do enjoy meeting people in the ecosystem and making those connections, and so it's something that I kind of do naturally, but it's again, it's for me, it's like how do what's the it's a there's always this, like, give-get scenario to every relationship that you build, and I would say, for me, the motivating factor is always what can I give as opposed to what do I get back, and I think that's how you actually build that genuine network when you're out, hobnobbing and meeting people at different industry events is, like, if you're coming from a place of genuine, authentic, I wanna get to know you, that's actually how you build a network that actually is valuable and matters.
No, for sure. You want to encourage people to go out to networking events
Yes.
as much as possible
Yes.
because it's essential to get a job, to get customers,
Absolutely.
etc. But the important thing, you have to have fun doing it, right? And by having that mindset of helping others, that
Mhm.
helps you get to that fun place where you
100%.
enjoy doing it.
100%.
Yeah. And so, how do you track the introductions you make? Do you have some kind of
Yeah.
system? How do you actually even monetize
Mhm.
networking? How do you put a value on relationships and networking, but still build a long-term relationship with the people you introduce?
Well, I think first and foremost is, again, you start from the place of being genuine and wanting this to be a relationship as opposed to a place where I'm trying to monetize something. That can never be the motivating factor when you're going out and building these relationships. You can smell inauthenticity the minute that someone, comes to you and you can tell that there's not something real behind it. Keep thinking about this one scenario where I developed this really robust referral program at one of my companies where our employees could refer new talent in. And one of the things that we noticed was that this one of our employees was doing a ton of the referrals. And when we started, what that did was actually bring their resume to the top of the stack. And so if one of the people that we trusted in our company had referred someone, we wanted to meet them. And so what ended up happening though was we realized that this employee was reaching out to people on LinkedIn after they found a job that we had open and being like, hey, here's our company, join with us. And what ended up happening was when we would interview these people, they actually had no idea who the person who referred them really was. They didn't really know him. They had just met him on LinkedIn. And so for us, I was saying, these aren't actually referrals, these you're sourcing for us. He was coming at it from the monetization piece. And I don't think that should be the primary motivator because that actually is what creates inauthentic relationships. And if you build a network off of just those inauthentic relationships, I mean, there's not the same value there. In terms of tracking things,
As you say, you need to be purpose driven. Like,
yeah,
the bigger purpose
right,
should not be the money. It should be helping others, making
100%.
great connections, creating opportunities. That's definitely the bigger purpose. And I think every
Absolutely.
super connector will,
They'll
definitely
say the same
the
thing.
same thing.
They'll
It's
say
about
the same thing.
purpose, helping.
Exactly.
Always number one. Absolutely.
Exactly. Like that really is kind of should be the motivating factor for building like an actually valuable real network. I did want to hit on one point though, Mike,
Yeah.
because I do actually think that's important to what we're talking about and why intro stars grabbed my attention the moment that I started reading about you all is I'm not tracking anything. And the problem with that is if you're not tracking it everything, you're waiting for it to just pop up in your brain. So you may actually have great people that you can make connections with, but if they're not top of mind, you're just relying on your memory, which again, when you're meeting lots of people, you're not necessarily going to think of a certain person or something that could create value because it's not front and center in your life. So I actually haven't been tracking anything like that. I know for a fact that I've introduced people to the best jobs of their lives. I know I've introduced people who have gotten married. I know I've introduced people, who have gotten incredible roles and things like that. But I have no way of tracking it right now.
Yeah. So again, if only there was a platform to help you track things.
Right.
And also, tracking means that after a few months, you can go back.
That's right.
And what are the best introductions I've made? And that also elevates your personal brand. So tracking and then remembering those introductions for yourself
Exactly.
and then for others. So
Right.
I think
Right.
it's really important that people know you as a great connector,
Yeah.
right? That elevates your personal brand, no matter what you're working on.
100%.
It really will help you in everything you do.
Well, it's just helpful to have a place where I can go back to, because there are often times where I'll think of someone who I could refer for multiple different reasons. Like, I really want you to meet this person because I think they have an in to capital from a VC that I think actually makes a lot of sense with your brand. Or again, I have a person who is a UX, head of UX at a company that, I think would be a great opportunity for you to be a design partner as an enterprise. And there are so many different ways and shapes of relationships. But if you're not tracking it, if you don't have some sort of log to go back to, they're not top of mind, and you're actually missing a lot of connections. And that's what I feel like. It's like I would love to have a place where I could go back and refer to and say, "Oh, I didn't even think about that person."
Yeah.
And so again, to kind of to answer your question, there is no tracking system right now.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, that's what we're trying to do with intro stars, make it
Right.
easy for super connectors to
Absolutely.
find great introductions to make and to track them over time
Right.
to make sure that that stays top of mind
Right.
and make sure the person who got introduced follows up as well, right? It's like
Absolutely.
everyone
That
involved
too.
becomes a winner, right?
Exactly. There's this symbiotic nature to it that I think is something that hasn't lived in, at least in the startup ecosystem, for it's just never been a thing. And so for
But
me,
startups
it's
all need introductions. When you
all
speak
the
to
time.
founders, I
All
think
the
that's what
time.
they're most desperate about.
Yeah,
Introductions, whether it's
exactly.
customers, investors, business partners, the startup
Exactly.
founders, absolutely need introductions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So tell us more about what you're working on right now. Where can people follow your adventures? Where they can run into at networking
Yeah.
events?
Yeah.
And how, what people should reach out to you for?
So right now I am doing a couple of different things, but sort of my primary business is I work with Series A and Series B startups. And typically the types of things that we are working on are, they will come to me with an issue. Typically it's a growth problem. Something is happening, revenue has stalled, or they're starting to question, is our messaging actually working? And because I have the pattern recognition of building and scaling multiple companies and then going into VC. And I built a program called People Ops as a Service, where I was working with a multitude of founders. Plus, I do advisory work as well. And so I have that kind of pattern recognition. And so what comes in with that is I can actually help you get ahead of things, because I can tell you this: if you do that today, this is what it looks like at 100 people. This is what it looks like at 250. Etc. So I can help you really get in front of those problems. So typically it'll either be they have a problem that they know about, but they don't have necessarily the expertise to come in. Could be even a cultural toxicity issue. And they'll bring me in to kind of unwind these meaty people problems, because at the end of the day, every business is a people business.
Exactly.
And so
All about people.
and it's all about talent, which is why it's so incredible. And I say to people all the time, and founders in particular, it doesn't matter how good your idea is. If you don't have good people building, selling, marketing it, then don't even do it, and definitely don't take VC money. And
So I'd
so,
love to introduce some
yeah,
founders. I know some really
exactly.
good founders who could use your help
Exactly.
for sure.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
where can people follow you? Do you have like a LinkedIn, a
Yeah.
website?
So LinkedIn, just Natalie Ledbetter, and then my website is just natalieledbetter.com.
Amazing. Natalie, I really look forward to seeing you at many networking events, introducing you to amazing founders who definitely need your help.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to great introductions.
I'm so excited to work with you all, Mike. And like I said, it's been something that's been missing in our ecosystem, at least, and is just such a welcome addition for people like me who love making connections.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Natalie. Really enjoyed our conversation.
Same.
And I'll see you very soon. Take care.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.